As 2024 comes to an end, it's easy to get swept up in setting big goals and lofty ambitions. I've been thinking a lot about what I want out of 2025 and what I want my theme for the year to be. Last year I picked veracity and I lived by it for 2 full weeks before I got COVID and all my hopes and dreams came crashing down around me. I really liked veracity as a theme. I've been thinking about reusing it since I didn't really do it justice. Or I could go with something more obvious like ambition or bold or daring. And yet, as December comes closer to an end, I've been feeling less and less like I'm getting ready to go into battle and more hopeful, more cautiously optimistic, like I'm only just teaching myself how to dream big once more. So as I get ready to sit down and set some goals for the new year, I'm really trying to lean into this idea of a hopeful fresh start. As you can see, I've already added this little banner that I made with the hopeful and fresh start ideas into my Notion, and I'm really trying to make this into a page that makes me excited when I look at it. I want this to be something that fills me with energy to work on my goals as opposed to just a place to write them down. So with that in mind, the first thing that I'm going to do to fill in this writing page is to put in my mock-up book cover that I made for my current project, which is Project Sight. So Project Sight is a portal fantasy series that I am currently working on. Book 1 has been in the works for a while. I am still aiming to complete draft 5 by the end of the year. I've got like 4 days left to do that, so wish me luck. And I've just realized it actually says book 1 on it. Let's just ignore that and pretend that it's the cover for the entire series, because I will not be working on book 1 this year, as a matter of fact, because my first goal in the year in 2025 is actually going to be to work on the second book in the series. I wrote a very quick first draft of it already, but I think draft 2 is going to need almost a rewrite from scratch. Maybe not every single chapter, but like 80% is going to have to be rewritten from scratch. So that is going to be my first goal. Book 2, draft 2. And then as part of the same project, I also want to do some brainstorming for the third book and potentially also outline the third book. So this is going to be my main project and my main priority in 2025. I think it's going to keep me busy for most of the year, but I do want to make a little bit of time for a bit of a side project, and that is going to be my Project Voice. And Project Sight is more of an adult book. Project Voice is middle grade. It is a witchy fantasy, and it is currently in the sort of brainstorming phases. I wrote Act 1 at some point and then never finished it, and I think really when I get back to it, I will be writing it again from scratch. So the goal for this book is going to be to finish that sort of brainstorming outlining phase that I'm in the middle of, and to write draft 1. This is a standalone, so I don't need to specify what book it is. There is only one book. For now. Standalone with serious potential, I guess. So that is 5 goals for my writing, which it's quite a lot. So even though I'm being very hopeful this year, drafting 2 books in a year with a full-time job sounds like one hell of a lot of work. So I just want to do some maths and figure out that this is actually feasible. So the second book in Project Sight, I'm expecting it to take me about a month to reread, re-outline, figure out where I'm going. And then the second draft, because I don't actually know how long the first draft is, but that is sort of irrelevant since I'm rewriting most of it. The current draft, which is draft 5 of the first book in the series, is sitting at around 120,000 words. So I'm expecting this at a lower draft to maybe be around 100,000. So I'm writing 100,000 words. Off the top of my head, I would say maybe 6 months sounds about right. I had a calculator on my table and I put it away when I was cleaning the desk. One moment. And this is why you shouldn't clean your desk. Anyway, so I think for this book, considering how early of a draft it is, and how for the second draft I will be a bit more slow and more deliberate with each word, I think 500 words an hour is a good pace for me. So 100,000 divided by 500 is 200 hours, and dividing that by 6 months is 33 hours. which actually is about 1 hour per day. So I think that should be feasible as long as nothing goes wrong or I don't end up changing my mind halfway through and going back and rewriting big sections. So I think I'm gonna change that to 7 months just to give myself a bit of leeway there to have the flexibility of making mistakes and having to go back on things, which means that this is 8 months total, which sounds pretty good, I think. And then this will sort of happen in parallel to this. I am expecting this to maybe take me half a month. Since I've done most of the work for that already, I just need a little bit more work on some world building. And then the first draft, I think I can do in 2 months. Maybe put that down as 2.5 months, which makes this 3 months, which actually gives me 11 months worth of writing projects. So I've got 1 extra month for delays or to do any other things that I might want to do. I am tempted to fill that with another goal, but I think we're gonna play it safe and just leave that for contingency time. But honestly, this sounds very feasible. I mean, it's 2 drafts from scratch in 1 year, which is a lot for me, but I think I can do it. So on top of writing, I have a couple of other creative pursuits going on, and that is what this category is going to be for. So first of all, YouTube. As I mentioned in my last video, I got a brand new camera. This is my 3rd ever video using this brand new camera, and I am so excited about it, but I also feel like I've sort of rushed into making videos with it, and I haven't taken the time to figure out how to use it that well. I've basically just been filming in automatic this entire time, and I think I can do better. Like, I want to learn what else it can do, and I want to learn what other features it has and what functionality it has. So that's going to be my first goal for the year, learn to use my camera better. And on top of that, I also think it'd be fun to learn about like cinematography and lights, and just, I'm really enjoying playing with this camera at the minute, and I want to really step up the quality of my YouTube videos because it's fun, because I enjoy doing that sort of thing. So that's something that I'd like to spend some time learning about. And then these 2 are more sort of development goals. I'd also like to set some output goals, which is mostly going to be about how many videos I make. So at the minute, my intention is to be making videos every 2nd week. Now, I'm expecting to be skipping some because I'm not perfect and I've got so much other shit going on. So I'm going to set my output goal to making 20 videos. Upload 20 videos. There we go. And then because I'm going to be alternating between videos and streams, I would also like to host 20 streams. In an ideal scenario, I would be uploading 26 videos and hosting 26 streams. That's not gonna happen. I think this is a nice, hopeful, but realistic goal. And then the last thing I want to put in here, which is not a goal. I would like to make that very clear. Not a goal. It's more of a manifestation tool, if you will. You can't actually see that as well as I hoped, but I basically edited my channel banner to say 1,000 subscribers on it, just as something to remind myself that this is possible and that this could actually happen. It is not a goal because subscriber count is something that is outside of my control, so I don't want to be pushing for that. But it's just something for me to look at and to get excited about when I see it, and to motivate me to actually work on these things that are actual goals that I can work on. I've also kind of realized while doing this that with YouTube I have 2 learning goals and 2 output goals, whereas with writing I only have output goals. So I think what I'm going to do actually is add a learning goal. So I think this is going to be to read some craft books. I'm trying to come up with a number here because I've only actually ever read half a craft book. I'm not really a craft book sort of person, but I would like to become a craft book sort of person. But I think maybe to start with, just read 1 craft book would be good enough. And then another thing that I found that really helps elevate my writing is actually critiquing other people's writing. So I'm also going to add critique / eatery. 3 books. That's nice. That makes the writing a lot longer now. Okay, so other than YouTube, we also have art. Now, I'm trying to keep my art goals very small this year because I really want to focus most of my creative energy on writing. She says, starting a YouTube channel and increasing her upload schedule, but recently I've been seeing art more and more as something that I'm doing to aid my writing as a whole, so everything around my creativity these days is just in aid of my writing, which is both good and bad, but I do like making art that is for writing purposes. So I'm just gonna lean into that this year and see how it goes. If I want to make separate art, I can always do that as well, but that's not a goal that I'll be setting. So the main things that I want to be able to do long term with art is being able to make my own character art and my own merch art sort of bits, and being able to make my own book covers, ideally book covers that look better than this one. So I think these are going to be mostly learning goals, and the first one is going to be learn to do realistic looking character art, and this is going to be done digitally. So I've actually already have some character art for project site, which actually would be really fun to insert in here. Let me see if I can find it. So this is Lisa, she's the main character in project site, and that drawing was done in 2022. So I think it would be so cool if, as a result of spending some time learning to make character art that's not this sort of comic style but actually looks a bit more 3D, if the output of that learning goal was to redraw this character but in that new style, redraw Lisa realistically. And then the other thing I want to do is really study anatomy and clothing of like full body people, because I'm okay with faces, but if you give me like a full-sized human, I am not able to draw that at the minute, and I would like to be able to do that. And this can be done by hand because that's just easier for me at the minute. And I can focus on learning to do that digitally later down the line. And I think that's probably all I'm gonna do for art. I don't think I want to do a book cover goal at the minute, just because I'm really trying to focus on the writing itself, so maybe we do book covers next year instead. And then the final category on here is sort of like my life and miscellaneous goals, and I don't think it's worth going through these with you, but I've just quickly filled them in off camera so that you can read them if you're interested. But yeah, I'm really happy with how this turned out. It's so cute. I love that I've got all these little pictures and things. I think it's going to be really fun to use this and to tick things off throughout the year. And it makes me really happy that writing is the longest category on here, despite the fact that part of this is just artificially caused by the book covers. Thank you so much for watching. Please feel free to let me know what your goals are for the new year. I would love to hear them and cheer you on, and I will see you very soon. Bye bye.